So we already had an introductory session on the subject, what environmental studies is all about, then why this subject has been introduced in engineering, etc. So in today's class, we will start with the first module. In module one, you have ecosystems. So the typical structure and function of the six ecosystems. You have forest, desert, wetland, river, ocean, and lake. And the second part of module one is biodiversity. What are different types of biodiversity? What is the value of biodiversity? Then what are hotspots? Then what is the threat to biodiversity and how biodiversity can be conserved? Then what is forest wealth and then deforestation? So in today's class, we will quickly cover the first part of module one, that is ecosystem, structure and function. I'm sure that you have studied all of them in your primary classes. So it's just a recap to see or to remember the ecosystem that is surrounding us. So environment, it consists of mainly three domains. You have the gas in form of air, that is atmosphere. Then liquid is water, as in hydrosphere. And as solid form, you have land, which is lithosphere. So the combination of these three is nothing but the biosphere, which is the living world. Okay. So an ecosystem is nothing but it's a geographic area where mutually all the organisms, including the weather and landscape, exist. So you have plant, animals, and other organisms as living component. And as non-living components, you have weather, landscape, the chemicals that are present. These two combinations, that is the living combination and the non-living combination, work together to form nothing but the life. So any ecosystem mainly consists of two components, that is the biotic or the living parts and abiotic factors or the non-living parts. So biotic factors, right? These are plants, animals, and the organisms. Whereas abiotic factors are rock, temperature, humidity, then the chemical nature, okay, the ions, the dissolved oxygen. So all these are abiotic factors. So every other factor in the ecosystem are dependent on each other, right? It can be either directly or indirectly. So if we take ourselves, we humans, right, or if we take land as an ecosystem, you have the abiotic factors as well as the biotic factors, right? And then you have what in biotic factors, you have plants, animals, and other organisms. So we will see one by one each uh, ecosystem and what are the structure. So structure means nothing but what are the biotic factors and abiotic factors present. Function is like what is the function of each of these biotic factor and abiotic factor. So, like if you take an example of uh, temperature, right? Any change in temperature. So, those of you who love plants and who are growing plants know if there is any change in temperature or there is any change in external environment, you know how the plant will behave, right? Even including human beings, if there is any change in temperature in our ecosystem or in our environment, there is some effect that is coming on to us, right? So any change, it can be in temperature, it can be in humidity, it can be in the nature of the air, the quality of water, quality of air, everything. So usually what happens is animals will be depending on the plant for food and shelter and they have to adapt to change. Okay. And then move to another ecosystem or they might perish. So change is inevitable. So this is a typical a picture or a representation to show an ecosystem. You have the living components. So I think I'm sure that this you might have seen in your second or third standard class, and it might look funny for you now, but it's just a recap on what or where we are living and what is surrounding us. So you have the biotic factors and you have the abiotic factors. So these two combined and form what? Form ecosystem. So you have the living organism, you have the sun, you have the light, you have the temperature, you have heat, you have water, you have soil, then non-living components, yeah, right, non-living components, air, soil, water. Then you have rock, and in living organisms, you have plants, you have trees, you have animals. Okay. So a typical ecosystem has abiotic components and biotic components. In abiotic components, you have climate and edaphic. So these climatic components and edaphic components. So climatic components are rain, light, wind, and temperature. Edaphic are soil, pH, minerals, and topography of the area. In biotic components, you have producers or autotrophs, consumers or heterotrophs, decomposers or saprotrophs. Okay. So in consumers, again, you have four classification: primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumers, and quaternary consumers. So you might have studied up to tertiary. So primary consumers are nothing but herbivorous. Secondary consumers are primary carnivorous. Tertiary consumers are large carnivorous, and quaternary are omnivorous. Okay, so we will see what herbivorous, primary carnivorous, large carnivorous, and omnicarnivorous are. So, you know what herbivorous is? What is herbivorous? What are herbivorous? Anyone?
Which feed on plants.
Yeah, which feed on plants. Then,
Vegetarian.
yeah, then what is primary carnivorous? What are primary carnivorous? Okay, give me an example for primary consumers or herbivorous.
Deer,
Goats.
Yeah,
deer,
Goats.
goat. Okay, then only goat you know, herbivorous.
Many are there now.
Rabbit,
Goats,
elephant,
cows.
horse, cow,
Yeah, okay. So
buffalo.
yeah, it quite recollects of your second or third standard, no harm. So next we have primary carnivores. So what are these primary carnivores?
They feed on only meats and like lions and tigers.
No, they are not primary carnivores. Then what will be large carnivores? Human beings.
Human beings are primary carnivores.
We are
We,
omnivorous, right? We eat
yeah,
both
we are,
carne.
yeah, more, yeah, we are omnivores. We eat both. Okay, so first let's have discussion on primary carnivores. What are primary carnivores? Okay, I'll give you an example. Cat is a primary carnivore, or a mouse. Yeah, a mouse. So they typically feed on, this is by definition from environmentalists. So by their definition, these primary carnivores feed on herbivores. Okay. And secondary or yes, tertiary consumers or large carnivores feed on these primary carnivores. What are omnivores?
Feed on both like human beings.
Yeah, feed on both like human beings. They feed on both plants and animals. So, how many omnivores are there? I'm an omnivore. So, is there? We have usually have a debate between the vegetarian and non-vegetarian people, right? So, it's a similar way, right? You have people eating both plants or being eating only plants. Then there are people who feed on both, right? So this is a schematic representation of structure of an ecosystem. So if you get a question on structure of an ecosystem, so this is what you have to remember. Okay. So you have biotic component, abiotic component. In abiotic, you have climatic and edaphic. In biotic, you have producers, consumers, and decomposers. Again, in consumers, you have these classification. So now let's just quickly again recollect what are the few terms that you have heard in ecology. So species, so these are uniform interbreeding population spreading over time and space. So humans are one species. Then any other species? Any other species? See, I want the class to be a bit interactive. Otherwise, it's going to be really boring. Or people are waiting only for Ravi and Pratik to answer. I want others also to answer.
Ma'am, dogs.
Yeah, then. Or are these questions too light for you people? Might be, right? Okay, so I hope you understood what the term species is. Community means it's a group of similar or dissimilar species that are living together in more or less in the same environmental condition. Population is again a group of similar communities. So you have species, different species living together as community. Okay, a group of similar community living together is a population, and biome is nothing but again the no, it's a combination of several communities together. So that is biome. Vegetation is nothing but the collective growth of plants in any space. Okay, you usually say this typical vegetation or no, the typical vegetation of that area. So do you find all plants to be growing in all the places? No,
Ma'am,
right? There is.
No,
can
ma'am.
you explain a little bit more about biome?
See, biome is nothing but you have like you have a community. So if we take our community, or if you take marine community, okay, so there you have species like the species, the you have consumers, then you have the secondary consumers, or you have the primary consumers, they existing together. So that forms a community, right? Species are different. You have the you have the fish as one species, and in that again you have several species. So they the plants along with the decomposers together form a community. So in this, what happens is so in the similar environmental condition, you find several complex or type of community to be there. So if you take this entire biome, Earth is considered as a biome. You have lake ecosystem, you have the forest ecosystem, you have the marine ecosystem. So all of them are at different communities, but under the same environmental condition or under a similar environmental condition, right? So Earth is considered as one biome. Okay. Yeah, so that is clear. Then we have the habitat where a particular organism is being living. So it can be your own residence, that is your habitat, right? The place where a lion lives, or the place where a deer, or the place where birds are, the place where decomposes even are. So that is their typical habitat. Now, factor is nothing but any, it can be a force like, light, it can be rain, it can be temperature, it can be variation in, chemical conditions. So all these, any external force or substance in the sense like you have acid rain or a condition that can affect any organism in the community in any way, that is nothing but a factor. It's something external, it's not internally, it's externally. Okay, then standing state is nothing but the total amount of inorganic substances like the amount of phosphorus, sulfur that are present in the environment at any given time. Biomass is again what is the total amount of living material in terms of weight by unit area. So if you consider an area of wetland, so you take the total area of the wetlands, we'll see what wetland is. Or okay, I can give you an example of pond. So if you want to compute the biomass of the pond, you take the total area of the pond, and then we take the total amount of living material that is present. So that will be including plants, then the consumers, then the decomposers. Okay. So now we will quickly see how do you categorize structure and function of an ecosystem. So in structure, the composition of a biological community, then what is the quantity and the distribution of non-living material. So it includes the composition, then what is the condition of the temperature, light, etc. has been considered in structure. Whereas in function, you consider the rate of production and respiration rates. Then you have several cycles, right? I think you would have studied the phosphorus cycle. You would have studied the nitrogen cycle. Yeah. So this is a typical function. Then you have biological or ecological regulation, which includes both the regulation of the organism by environment and the regulation of the environment by the organisms. So it can be in both the ways, right? Organism can influence the environment and environment can influence the organism. So first we will see forest as an ecosystem. So forest, it occupies almost 40% of the land, and the different components of forest ecosystem are, you have abiotic components, biotic components. So in abiotic components, what are the different components present in forest? What are the abiotic components in Okay, I will call out the name. Ravi and Pratik, you need not answer. Jasmita. Jasmita. Jasmita is not there in the class. Anirudh.
Um,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. What are the different abiotic components in a forest?
Um, Maybe you can say soil and
Yes.
the inorganic substances in the soil, like your
Only
uh,
soil is present in forest as a non-living substance or as a non-living component.
no, you have trees as well. Trees and
Trees
the air.
non-living. Seriously.
Ma'am. You have the atmosphere, the air around the temperature and all that.
Okay, Joseph. Thank you, Anirudh. Joseph.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, hello. What are the
Yes,
different
ma'am. Yeah.
abiotic components in forest? So Anirudh was saying it as trees. Trees abiotic. So is tree abiotic?
Ma'am, abiotic are basically non-living things now, ma'am.
Yes. So
Non-living
yeah. So
substances.
what are the different non-living objects or elements in a forest?
Ma'am, in forest so much is there, no, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me. No,
Rock.
tell me. Name at least 2 to 3.
Ma'am, for like the snakes will all build houses. The birds will
Snake
build
is
nests, no, ma'am.
no. Snake is non-living.
No, ma'am. Where they stay,
Then
ma'am. The caves
what
with
is it? No,
where
cave
the
is
animals
no.
stay.
Cave is made
Okay,
of
the
something.
rocks,
What is
ma'am. The
it?
rocks.
Yeah. Then
Rocks. What is it made up of? Are you asking like that, ma'am?
no. I want the abiotic factors that are in a forest. List at least 3 abiotic factors in a forest.
The abiotic factors. Ma'am, water is there, ma'am.
Okay, good. Then
And then the temperature is low, so humidity also is there, no, ma'am.
okay. Even if
What do you say?
temperature is low or high, humidity is the factor.
Then obviously soil, and then inside
Mm.
soil there's nutrition and all, no, ma'am, which we can take and use it.
Then anyone else? Okay, Joseph. Then we have Jason Jerome. Okay, Srivarsha.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah, what are the different? Can you name one or at least 2 more abiotic factors that are present in forest? I hope you might be attending and you would have heard what your friends were saying. So at
Yeah,
least 2
ma'am.
more abiotic factors that are in
So,
forest.
okay. Soil and rocks is over. So, light
Yeah, very good. Then
and the minerals and all
yeah, good.
which
So
we
yeah,
get
good.
in
Yeah,
animals.
good. Thank you, Sri. Thank you, Varsha. Okay, so
Yeah.
abiotic components are the organic and inorganic, non-living substances that are present. Okay, so your friends have given so many examples for abiotic components. Now, in biotic components, you have producers, consumers, and decomposers. So, what are the different producers, or what are the producers in forest? Anyone? Very good. Yeah, it's
Trees.
tree. Then consumers, again, you have primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. So you can just read out the examples. Primary consumers are herbivorous, which feeds on tree leaves. So you have large elephants, deer, squirrels, etc. Then you have secondary consumers, which are carnivorous, and tertiary consumers are top carnivorous that eat carnivores of secondary level. Okay, and then decomposers. What is the purpose of decomposer in an ecosystem? Kavya. Yeah,
Break-
someone was trying to answer. Okay, yeah, who was answering? What is the yeah,
I was answering,
Prateek.
I'm
How many
Prateek.
times you will answer? Okay, fine. Then what is the role of a decomposer?
Breaking down the dead animals, dead
Yeah,
plants.
so and then they again become what they became, abiotic components. They form minerals in the soil, right? Good. And even into the air also. Good. Okay, Pratik. So this is the main, this is the structure of an ecosystem, of a forest as an ecosystem. And along with the structure, you have seen the different functions, right? So next we have, so this is a typical a picture, a schematic representation to show the ecosystem of a forest. So you can see plants as producers, you have consumers. So which are the different consumers, and then you have the decomposer. So you might have had enough fun on drawing food web, right? So this again shows a food web. So I'll share the slides with you. You can just go through and understand how the food web is. So next, desert. Desert again occupies 17% of the land. So abiotic components are light, temperature, and minerals. So here again you have producer, consumers, and decomposers as biotic components. So producers are nothing but shrubs. Mainly, what is the main shrub that you find in desert? Anyone? Itself reading slide. Yeah, you
Cactus.
find cactus and you find mosses. So those of you who are from biology background in your 12 PUC, you might have studied botany. So there you also know what xerophytes are. So I'll show a few photographs of xerophytes, cacti, and mosses. So in consumers, you have mainly reptiles, right? Reptiles, insects, and some rodents. Then camels, right? Camels also feed on plants. Then in decomposers, since there is, the vegetation is quite less, the amount of dead organic matter will also be less. So there are some fungi and bacteria to decompose them. So this is again a typical photograph to show the ecosystem of desert. So you have the producers, then you have primary consumers, maybe it can be some rodents. Then you have the secondary consumers, that is the carnivorous, it can be the hawk or it can be some fox, right? And then you have the decomposers, mainly bacteria and fungi. So wetland, you know what wetland is? Those who are from basically from Bangalore would not have seen, but wetland. Wetland, because in next class I want to take up a case study on wetlands. Right? Anyone seen a wetland? Anyone from coastal area in this class? Anyone? Because I am typically from a coastal area, so I have very well seen wetland. Anyone from coastal area? So no one from coastal area in this class. Almost 50, including me, 53 are there. So no one from coastal area. Has anyone been to any coastal area? Not been to any beaches, places where beaches are there? No one from Mangalore side?
I'm told not to answer, so I'm waiting.
Yeah?
Okay. And yeah, we have seen many in some cities like Bombay.
Yeah, you would have seen wetland there, yes. So I think only Ravi has seen a wetland. Anyone
No, it's
else?
not like that.
No, that looks like that. None of them seem to answer. Okay, so wetland is where the fresh water from the river and the stream mixed with the salt water from ocean. So these are considered to be the most fertile ecosystem. Okay, so they are biotic Let me see if I have a picture of a wetland. I don't think I have a good picture of a wetland. Hmm. Yeah, have you heard of mangroves? Anyone? Mangroves.
Forest, no, ma'am, it is.
Yes,
It's
yes,
from,
The
you know,
Sundarban region.
yeah, you might have, yes?
The Sundarban
Bangladesh is
region.
one of them.
Yeah, no, yeah, not only in Bangladesh, there are in so many places. At least you might have seen English movies wherein, you know, the carnivorous fish. I don't remember the movie name now. At least there are many movies based on, yeah, Anaconda you might have seen. Then yeah, many movies you might have seen, right? So they used to be going through this, this kind of a structure wherein the roots of the trees are being seen outside on the water, right? And the roots, those area are considered as a wetland. Okay, so they have immense quantity of phosphorus, nitrogen, temperature. Sorry, yeah, phosphorus and nitrogen, which are essential nutrients for plants. Okay, so those of you have seen mangroves. Next class, I will be taking a case study on the importance of mangroves and why, or why they are considered as the most fertile ecosystem. Okay, so I have a case study which was next to my college where I was studying my engineering. So I'll take up that case study in the next class. So here they experience wide seasonal, daily and seasonal fluctuation in temperature and salinity level. Why? Because there is some variation in, usually there will be variation in freshwater flow. So the abiotic components present there are phytoplanktons, then so these produce food by photosynthesis. So you know what photosynthesis are, right? So beside them you have mangroves. So I don't think I have a good picture of mangroves today. I'll obviously share it in the next class. So you have mangroves, weeds, and salt marshes. Then in consumers you have zooplanktons which feed on phytoplankton. Then you have secondary consumers, which include worms, shellfish, then you have small fish. And tertiary consumers, you have crab. So you find plenty of crab in this wetland. So that photograph also, I'll show you how a crab is there or how the crab stays in that wetland. Then in decomposers, you have fungi and bacteria. So this is a typical photograph to show ecosystem of a wetland. So these are nothing but the mangrove roots. Okay, so you have the typical, you have the mangroves, then you have primary consumers, you have the secondary consumers, and then you have the decomposers. I don't think I have kept decompose over here. Okay, so this is about wetland. So next you have river. So river is nothing but a lotic ecosystem. That means the water is not standing. So which is the ecosystem where water will be standing? Standing water. Bangaloreans, you should answer. Since no one was there from coastal area, so I think this many should be able to answer. So what is the type of standing ecosystem?
Lakes, ma'am.
Yeah, lake. Then only lake. One more, which is usually been confused with lake.
Pond. Ponds.
Yeah, pond. Yeah. So we will see what is the difference between this lake and pond. So they are actually localized. So lotic means the water is not standing; it moves. So here also, you know, what are the abiotic and biotic components? So I don't think I have to explain much about abiotic and biotic components here. Abiotic components are water flow, then right, you have the water flow also coming here, then light, temperature, dissolved ions, and nutrients. Sorry, this is not sand. I dissolved ions and nutrients. Then in producers, you have the aquatic mosses, then the green algae. Then in consumers, you have what are the consumers in river?
Fishes.
Yeah, you have fishes, right? You have snails, flatworms. Then you have decomposers again, like bacteria and fungi. So I think yeah, I don't know where I kept the photograph of the river. So next you have ocean. So ocean is also an example of lotic ecosystem, right? Water moves. So here again, it's more stable than pond ecosystems, and 70% of Earth is being covered by ocean. So here again, abiotic components are dissolved oxygen, light, temperature, and minerals. Biotic components, you have producer, consumers, and decomposers. So producers are again autotrophs, nothing but herbivorous. So mainly here also you have microscopic algae, nothing but phytoplanktons, and then you have seaweed, brown and red algae. In consumers, you have shrimps, then fishes. Then in secondary consumers, you have again mackerel. So those of you who exclusively eat fish will know what a mackerel is and then what are the different types of fishes. Then tertiary consumers, you have again sea turtle, shark, which feed on this secondary consumers as well, right? Then again, you have the decomposer. So you know what is the function of a decomposer, and then again, usually you will be finding bacteria and some fungi. So if you are an expert in biology or if you're an expert in botany, you can actually recollect some names in bacteria and fungi. So this is a typical, photograph showing marine ecosystem. You have the producers, right? You have the producers here. Then you have, so these are shrimps. You have, you have the shrimp here. Then you have fishes. Then, right, you have dolphins, crabs. So these are nothing but, and then you have the decomposers, nothing but bacteria. So now we have lake and pond. What is the difference between this lake and pond? Sometimes you get confused with lake and pond. So in Bangalore, you quite have so many lakes and pond. What will be the difference between this lake and pond? Or is there any difference between lake and pond? So usually people tend to say that lake is quite bigger than pond, right? But sometimes I think, they state that
Ponds are shallower than lakes.
yeah, that is a good an example. Ponds are shallow than lake. So is it necessary that pond is artificial and lake is natural?
No, ma'am.
No, that also need not be, right? But again, that is actually a good explanation that pond is shallow and lake is deep. So sometimes you get confused with the size, but I mean the area that is being covered. But that is also not the case. Sometimes in history, if you look back, or in I think I don't have the name over here, there are ponds which are actually larger than lake also. So it's usually based on the depth. Okay, large in the sense in the area that has been covered. So lake as an ecosystem, it's an example of lentic. Okay, so in river we have seen what was it? It was lotic ecosystem wherein water moves. So lake is nothing. Lake and pond is an example for lentic ecosystem. That means water is standing. Okay, so pond and pool will have their entire bottom bottom surface exposed to light. So that very well explains what what has been said by Pratik. So pond is having shallow bed, whereas lake has deep bed. The abiotic components are light, temperature, and wind. And biotic components, you have again producers, consumers, and decomposers. So producers are phytoplankton. Then consumers, you have again zooplankton or small animals that swim. Then secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. And then finally, you have the decomposers, which are nothing but bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms. So this again shows a typical, for a schematic representation of lake or a pond. So you have the plants, or you have the producers, then you have the the consumers, or the biotic components which feed on phytoplankton. Then you have the primary consumers, and then the secondary consumers, and finally you have decomposition. So here you have the organic matter which sediment. So this is a typical cycle, right? So from this, after this decomposition, the nutrients are again being taken by the plant. So here the cycle is again completed. So with this, we have come to end of ecosystem. So we have seen the structure and function of forest, then marine or the ocean, then river, lake, and wetland. Okay. So this explanation should be more than enough. So in next class, we will see few case studies on ecosystem, conservation of ecosystem. That is more important considering your syllabus, or considering your syllabus, the case study, or what is the importance of studying about these ecosystem. Okay, so next class I will discuss 3 case studies on conservation and what is the importance of this ecosystem. Okay. So